Today was fun, man. I really enjoyed today's session. Took it back all the way to the basics, really, and the stuff that really got me into the gym around almost 2 years ago now. And got me consistent. It really got the stuff that really got me consistent in the gym, because this is the most consistent I've been in the gym my entire life. Prior to this 2-year stint of consistency, and anybody who's watched a previous video where I spoke about this, I built myself up from 1 day a week for about 4 weeks, and then 2 for about another 3 to 5 weeks, and then 3 for 2 weeks, and then five times a week, so on and so forth. And then I've been training every day since July the 1st. Yeah, I took it all the way back to the basics and the exercises and the routine that really got me consistent and really got me enjoying gym again, because I'd finally felt like I'd found answers that I'd been looking for years, since I was a teenager. And that was really simply put, I wanted to lift, I wanted to get stronger, but I also wanted to get more mobile, and I wanted to position myself to get better with age. And I mean age, I'm talking 75, 80, 90 years old, rather than decline. And the knees over toes guy happened to be my first example of that. The person who first opened my eyes to a lot of, I guess you could say, old school bodybuilding principles that were founded on, first and foremost, being healthy. And a great aesthetic kind of just follows that. If you train a certain way, as the old school bodybuilders did. The only person I'm somewhat familiar with, because I've never done any research on bodybuilding, I don't know anything about that world, but through the knees over toes guy, I got quite familiar with Tom Platz, I think that's his name. And yeah, seeing his mobility standards and his physique, like, I was sold. That was all I needed to see. So in this video, you'll see the knees over toes, I believe it's a 0 program. And full disclaimer, I signed up to his like mentorship thing, whatever you want to call it, his monthly subscription thing, just for a month. I just wanted to see what it was all about, get a taste for like how he structures it and whatnot, because you only get so much when you go off of YouTube. And whilst I knew all along that I wasn't gonna like subscribe for longer than a month. I just kind of wanted to get an idea of how they best structure it for newcomers. I did this particular workout completely bodyweight consistently for about 6 months, I would say, before I started adding weight to it, because surprisingly it was tough at the beginning. I remember the first day I did it, my whole calf complex, my tib, my calf, my Achilles, even my foot and my ankle it was fucked. The next day it was absolutely shot. I felt like I couldn't walk properly. I'd never targeted that area of my body so specifically before, and I felt it. I really felt it the next day. Thankfully now I've used it so much and I've built myself up to a point where I use this stuff for restorative purposes. Like if I feel stiff or tight, like I've felt stiff and tight in my calf complex today, I'll do this knowing full well that tomorrow I'm not going to feel stiff and tight now that I've done this, because I've filled that area full of blood and got the recovery going super sane, because that is no longer a taxing workout for me. It's very much a blood flow workout for me. And yeah, I really fucking enjoyed it. And I've advised tens of people to fucking give the knees over toes guy stuff a go. It was a bit of a tongue twister. And to be fair, nobody that I've advised has actually ran with it, and dare I say it, that's their loss. But it got me thinking today about the importance of like going to the gym and just not giving a shit and just trying things, like really playing with things. Because I will never forget how it felt when I was watching the videos on his course and he was like, yeah, walk backwards for 10 minutes. I was like, what? Am I really going to go to the gym and walk backwards for 10 minutes? I feel like a dickhead. I ain't going to sit here and lie. I feel like a dickhead. But I did it. And that was really important for me. I'll be real, like as a mental practice and along with the discipline of continually going to the gym, that was a really important part for me. You're doing weird and wacky exercises that almost look, to the naked eye and to somebody who's never done them, they look obsolete. They look like they wouldn't do anything. Like you'll see clips, you would have seen clips by now of like tib raises and the knees over toes calf raise and the full range of motion calf raise, and even the Patrick step, just a single leg squat off of a block. To an extent, it looks really insignificant and it kind of looks like, why would you do that? But it's not until you do these kind of exercises at extremely high rep ranges that you realize how fucking powerful they are. And even the ATG split squat, like everybody and their mum knows what a lunge is and everybody and their fucking grandma loves to lunge. People see you doing a split squat and they're kind of like, how the fuck are you doing? That's not a lunge, bro. Like, to lunge is... Nah, nigga, like, I'm doing a split squat on purpose, bro. It's weird, innit? It's weird. But, like, I feel like it's very good practice for just that... it's very good practice to get over that little element of anxiety that you would have in the gym when you're doing something unconventional. Because it's not every day you go and see somebody pulling a sled backwards in the gym or doing tib raises, etc., etc. And that was one thing I really enjoyed, to be honest. Like there was the sled in particular. So with the knees over toes program, the zero program, you start off walking backwards and eventually you build yourself up to where you're walking backwards on a treadmill with the treadmill off. So you've got that resistance. And then you go to the sled and you pull the sled whilst pushing it. Because without realizing it, we're getting our knees over our toes in both directions. When we pull the sled, you bring your knee over your toe and then you drive backwards, engaging your quad. And then when you push the sled, you get your knee over your toe and you get a real good stretch in your calf as you push off. So it's all tied into one another and it's a great warm-up for it. But I remember when I was doing it a lot, I was doing it every day for about 6 months. And you knew, as soon as you see me walk through the doors of that gym, you knew the first thing I was beelining for that sled. That was it, period. I was beelining for that sled. And today I felt the fact that I haven't done it in a long time. That lit me the fuck up. But anyway, it was really nice to see in the period where I was doing it consistently, I had a lot of people come up to me and ask like, yo, what's this for? Like, what does this do? And briefly explain to them. And the majority of them that I still see pushing the sled today. And a couple of them I see pulling it too. Not as many as just pushing. But that was, like, I thought that was sick, man. I thought that was real cool. Like, it's so important to just go in and play sometimes. Like, if it wasn't for my experience with the knees over toe stuff, I'd be surprised if I was so willing to try all those little landmine glute exercises that I tried yesterday. That was just a video I stumbled across online, thought, let me give it a go. Felt stupid and I felt really uncoordinated doing it and it felt really fucking weird. But I ain't got a fucking barbell and a landmine and all this nonsense at home, so there's only one place I can give it a go, and that's the gym. So you can't give a fuck about what people think. Doesn't matter how busy it is, doesn't matter. Like the gym's a place for exploration, man. It's a place of freedom. It's a temple in many ways. It's a place of solace. Like, that's why you can't go in there and fucking do no nonsense, man. You can't do that. Nonsense in regards to like affecting other people's experience. However, you can definitely go in and do some wacky shit when it comes to your exercises, and you can't be afraid to do that. can't be afraid to do that. I would also have my eyes open to how much I've neglected my core in the last month. Prior to starting these videos, I was blasting hanging leg raises, blasting them. And today, and recently I've been thinking about it, even though I haven't been doing it, but today I realized how insignificant really hanging leg raises are relative to like L-sit holds, for example. Like your core is a I heard somebody explain it so beautifully once. It's like it's a stamina muscle at the end of the day. Like the core isn't about reps, the core is about stamina. How long can you hold a certain position using your core is far more valuable than how many hanging leg raises can you do. Of course, it's going to be beneficial in some capacity to get good at hanging leg raises. However, the man that can hold a 1-2 minute L-sit is going to be far superior than the guy who can do 20 hanging leg raises from a core stability and strength perspective. And my eyes were really open to that today. And it's something that I feel like I definitely need to get back on the horse for and stop neglecting it, because I have been neglecting it. I've really been neglecting it. I've been enjoying trying and playing with so much new shit and messing around with just anything. And a big part of that is because of the alleviating my quad discomfort. But I definitely need to hone in a little bit and not neglect the things that are important. Like even the sled, even using that sled today, like I know for a fact now I'm going to use that once a week bare minimum, because that it's a special movement, man. It's a special movement. I remember how strong I felt when I first started using that, and grappling especially. Like if you can fucking push your body weight up and down that track continuously, then all of a sudden fighting somebody, wrestling somebody, your body weight doesn't feel as taxing. I don't know, maybe it's mental, maybe it's placebo, but whether it is or isn't, if it helps, it helps. But yeah, if you made it this far, thank you very much. I appreciate you a lot, and I shall see you tomorrow.